Okay, here's a relatively rare pair of vintage hiking boots. These are Asolo, A-S-O-L-O, and they're out of Italy. And these are all leather, and you can see the quality of the construction. I'm going to clean these up, and I'm going to use some saddle soap on them, and then I'm going to use some Pecard leather dressing. And these things are going to be like new when we get finished. See inside there's some dust and so forth. We're going to first brush them off, brush that out. And the leather's kind of stiff, a little bit hard because they've been sitting probably for many years. And what I gather from these is they were probably used briefly, and whoever bought them didn't realize that these have a long break-in period and just kind of gave up on them and said they were too stiff. And so they never really broke them in properly. And so what we're going to do is we're going to restore them or service them, whatever word you want to use. It's really not a restoration because they're in pretty good shape. They just need to be kind of serviced up a little bit. And one thing that when you, by the way, I'm putting that saddle soap in hot water there, and then that'll kind of dissolve into the hot water. And then I like to just use a toothbrush, and that way I can get in all the nooks and crannies and brush along where the stitching is there on the sole and brush inside the tongue there. And by the way, these have that double tongue. These are really well made boots and pretty heavy duty hiking boots at that. I've restored another pair of very similar boots for another friend of mine, Audrey, and those aren't quite as heavy duty as these, but those are fantastic boots. And some people like a boot that's a little bit lighter. These are going to be tricky to break in. They're going to take a little while to break in. And a friend of mine, Kristen, who does a lot of hiking, she's going to break them in. And I gave her some pointers from when I broke in my Limer boots and how long it took me to break those in. It literally took weeks and weeks. Wearing them a little bit here and there and just slowly but surely breaking them in, and now those boots are just super comfortable. And I have a pair of Italian boots as well that are also super comfortable after a break-in period. So these do take some time to break them in. And what's going to happen now, I'm going to scrub the entire boot with this hot solution of saddle soap, and then I'm going to take a damp towel and wipe them off real good, and that's going to kind of get all the crud and crap that's kind of soaked into this leather, kind of clean up this leather some. And then after I go through that whole procedure, I'm going to add some Pecard leather dressing. And one thing about the saddle soap is it also moisturizes the leather some. It sinks in and helps moisturize the leather as well. And then I don't let them fully dry. I let them dry some, and then I go ahead and put the Pecard right on and let it soak in. And you'll see when I put it on, I put it on thick, and it will soak in. And then maybe a week or so later, I might give them another application depending on how much it soaks in. And you'll see also at the end of this video that they'll be quite a bit darker, but they will lighten up as they dry and as you wipe off any excess Pecard dressing. And once they dry and so forth, they will look pretty much the color they did to start with. So they're just going to really look nice, and even the stitching around the sole and all cleans up real nice with that saddle soap. So they just really gives them a nice new lease on life, if you will. Makes them look like a nice fresh pair of boots. And you have to do this because they don't even make boots like this anymore. This company, as far as I know, they don't make this boot anymore. Most of the like Vask boots that were similar to this years ago, they're not making all leather hiking boots like this anymore. You probably have to go to Limer and Company and buy a boot from them to get something similar to this as far as quality is concerned. Their off the rack boots are probably $300 or $400 to get something similar to this. Of course, they have their custom made boots, which I have a review on my channel of a pair of Limer custom made boots that I had made years ago that are just a fantastic boot. But those, I think you have like a 2-year wait to even get those. So if you want to get something like this, you just got to keep an eye out on eBay and buy a vintage pair that's in really good condition. And I don't recommend buying a pair that's in bad shape because they're really expensive to bring back if you have to like resole them or something like that. So if you're going to buy something like this, buy something that's in really good shape that you can just kind of service up like I'm doing here, and then get a lot of additional use out of them. And you'll find them if you do some searches on eBay. You will find boots like this from this manufacturer and from other manufacturers. I recommend ones made in Sweden, made in Germany, made in Italy, made in the US. There's various high quality boots that are made in all of those places that you can find that are going to be similar in construction to the boot you're looking at right here. So once I do finish cleaning the boot with the saddle soap, you're going to see that I'm going to treat it with the Pecard leather dressing, and I always have a tub of this around. I love this stuff. I use it on all my high quality leather goods, and it works for me. So if you have other solutions that you use, feel free to share them in the comments as well. But I just put this on with my hands, and the heat from the hands help it penetrate the leather and help you rub it in. Just take your time and just rub and rub and rub and just rub this into the leather. And you can see I'm putting a nice heavy coat on here. Use copious amounts of this and get it all in the nooks and crannies. And then what I do is, after it soaks in a little bit, I'll go over it with a damp paper towel and just kind of like get the excess in the little grooves where there's excess like globbed in that I didn't rub in. I'll kind of just wipe that off, and I'll wipe off the hardware so that when I put on the laces, they don't get all gooed up. But you can see a little bit of goo along that seam there. I'm just going to kind of wipe along there and just get that excess out of there, just so that it doesn't get on your clothes or whatever and just make a mess. But other than that, I'll just kind of let it soak in and leave that nice heavy coat on the leather, and it will soak in overnight, and it'll make these things more compliant so that when Kristen starts wearing them to break them in, they'll form to her foot a little more and make that break-in process a little bit easier as well. And we might give additional coats. Like I say, once or twice a week, we might just add some more, so as she continues to do the break-in process, this leather will just really conform to her feet. Fortunately, she's already tried them on. They do fit nicely, so I think that's going to work out pretty good. And here you can see I'm using 550 paracord, which I cut the correct length. I used the laces that came out of it, and then I cut them a little bit longer because I like a little bit longer so you can double knot them. And then I'm putting this paracord lacing in, and these last and last and last. I love these paracord laces for boots like this, and they're quick and easy to lace up. And so, of course, I sped this up a little bit, but you can see how nice these laces look. And of course, you can get paracord in various colors, so if you wanted a different color in there, you can do that as well. But this is a neat trick to use paracord as the laces. It's going to save you money. We always have paracord laying around, so at least I recommend that you always have it laying around. So it's a cheap way to make a really high quality set of laces for your boot. So there they are, finished. Again, that treatment, the Pecard treatment, is still soaking in, and she's already, by the way, starting the break-in process. So share what kind of boots you wear, and please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.